Well, the diversity bureaucracy is huge. You know, we treat tuitions as naturally occurring phenomena, and the colleges get off easy. It's remarkable. The colleges are held harmless by public opinion, and they think that tuitions just rise of their own accord, and the only solution is more college loans from the federal government. Tuitions are a function of the growing bureaucracy, and the diversity bureaucracy is a massive part of that. And it's not just faculty who then go into administration, it's full-time administrators that, you know, they have whole PhDs now in student services, which is completely bogus field. It exists. I mean, a large reason for the growth of this student service bureaucracy is racial preferences, that we are letting students in who are not competitively qualified for the schools in which they find themselves. They're qualified for college, nobody's disputing that. It's just that it is the sad fate of Black and Hispanic students to be catapulted into academic environments for which they are not competitively qualified with their peers, and they struggle. I would struggle if MIT, which is totally a left-wing organization now, and it has gender preferences up the gazoo, and it would admit me to MIT with, let's say, 650 math SATs, and all my peers were close to 800, but there I was because I needed to fill a sex quota, I would struggle enormously in my first-year calculus class because it would be pitched to the average of my student body, and I would fall behind. I may drop out of a STEM field, I may drop out of MIT, and the bureaucracy would tell me that the reason I'm struggling is because of rape culture. And I would learn to blame my environment and see hostility and sexism all around me. The same thing happens to Black students. They struggle, they drop out of their STEM intended majors, they feel out of place, they congregate in the dining room for emotional support, and the bureaucracy tells them the reason you're struggling and feel out of place is because of racism. The institutions would rather blame themselves for phantom racism than tell the truth about racial preferences and truth about the academic skills gap. So the bureaucracy is in large part, you know, we have all these specializations now. We have the first-gen bureaucracy, you know, first-generation students. Well, the World War II GI Bill also brought first-generation college students to college, and it didn't need a huge bureaucracy for them. Why? Because they were competitively qualified. They were not being admitted to schools where they did not possess these qualifications of their peers. So they didn't need this huge bureaucracy. But now, first-gen college students is just a euphemism for students who were not academically prepared. And so they get their own hand-holding bureaucracy, and every other group that wants to claim victimhood gets its own bureaucracy. And there's this codependency between these narcissistic, self-involved victim students and the eager bureaucrats who are a willing audience for their little psychodramas of oppression that the students act out in front of them. And they both need each other, and it's very telling that whenever the students launch another set of demands on their willing, docile, compliant universities, high up on the list is always an expansion of the diversity bureaucracy. And it's interesting that they realize that these are their supporters and that they're going to sort of give them more fuel because they will then support their claims of victimhood.